everyone. Welcome back to Random Spirit Podcast. I am your host, Cynthia. Today we are doing a solo episode. I want to do more of these. I'm going to do more of these. I just want to bring more of me into my podcast. So, your girl is on this journey of reading, okay? And there's this book that I have been wanting to make an episode on. Now, it has to do with the father wound. And I think I have two episodes already in the past where I'm just talking trauma with Tanisha and another person, and those were about the father wound. But this one is just going to be different because obviously, I think the ones that I recorded were like 2, 3 years ago. Yeah, and we're in 2026 now, so definitely I have been doing just so much healing. This book I highly recommend. So we're just going to get right into it. This book is called Adult Daughters of Emotionally Absent Fathers, and it is by Lyla Hart. The cover of this book, it's a Barbie doll, and she's sitting and she has her knees like up against her chest, and she's kind of like holding her knees. And I don't know if you guys have seen there's like these memes of Barbie dolls, and they have like their makeup running down their face. That is what brought me to this book. I think I was on Facebook one day, and I just looked at it and I was like, "Huh, I'm healing my father wound." So this book is beautifully written, and the one thing that I will say when it comes to just like books and stories, something that I use in my business, if anyone has ever had a reading from me or if anyone has worked with me, even listening to the podcast, I feel like there's so much medicine inside of our stories. And she goes on and she talks about her relationships and how she realized and how she was able to link the father wound and, aspects of her dad and even work, right? And even in herself and in the men that she was choosing. And there's like a little quote here, and it says, "Stop earning love that should have been yours by default and break the spell." Right? Anyone that listens to my podcast, you guys are cycle breakers. And that's what we're doing. We're breaking the spell. That's shaping your love around his rejection. So, I'm going to go on and talk about the book and everything that I've learned. So, this book has just taught me a lot because you can see the connection in your life, really, when it comes to like specifically your caregivers, right? Or like your parents. And at least for myself, let me speak for myself, right? I am still on the journey of healing my relationship with money. And that I can connect and I can like connect things from like my father wound to the relationship with money. And also like there's just like a lot of things that I am unlearning, and it all comes from like the root of my trauma. So it's so interesting because I am a strong, firm believer, and I say this all the time. I genuinely do feel like I don't know if what the right word is, if it's like it's not unconsciously, it's subconsciously. We subconsciously we seek our parents and we seek the lack of love or the lack of anything, we seek that in relationships. And with this book, I mean, she says it, right? You're sitting here and whatever relationship it is, that you're in, and like let's just say it was like a bad toxic relationship and you stayed for X amount of time, and you're just like, why did I stay for so long? And looking at it, it's just like, yo, like let's let's do the healing work. Let's do the actual healing work. And yeah, like you could hold yourself accountable, but going to therapy can help too, and like having friends that are able to hold yourself accountable. Look, as I'm talking about it, I'm getting parts of the book. So she goes on and she talks about there was what happened. There was an inst okay, there was someone that broke into her apartment. And she was just like, "Oh my gosh." And I believe she had called her dad, and her dad and her did not have a like really good relationship. So she calls her dad, and her dad is just like nonchalant about it, like, "Oh, like, are you okay?" Like type stuff, whatever. And then that was that. Now, Lyla was just like petrified in that situation, right? Anyone would be. So then she tells her homegirls, right? And one of her friend's dad pulls up, and she's sitting there and she's just like, "Oh my goodness, like he lives X amount away and he's pulling up," right? And it's things like that, right? When we're on our healing journey and when we are doing the work, and it's not only that we are shown the negative aspects, right? We're also shown what a father could be in that situation, right? We're also shown like the other side, basically, is what I'm saying. It's not always like this negativity, this like, chaotic. It's also like this other side, and like that part of the healing. So in that situation, I'm the type of person, if I'm watching a movie or like I'm reading a book or whatever, I need to be in the character's shoes, or like in the situation, right? And I see this a lot when it comes to like when I'm on social media and I'm scrolling. And so two parts of Cynthia. There was a time where I would just be so jealous and I'd just be like, ugh, like you have a good relationship with your dad. That used to be me. And now it's healing. Like the big perspective shift and a lot of the actual reflection and the sitting in it. Whew, this year, 2026 for Cynthia has been sitting in it. And the actual like sitting in it and allowing the emotions to flow and the self-love. Whenever I see someone that is like posting something, or like those dad videos of like the dad advice, low key, like I be crying. I like but also there's like, let's speak energetics. There's a part of me that's warm, and I smile and I just kind of chuckle because it's like, oh my gosh, like I love the love. I love the love. And a lot of the times I have to remind myself, right? And this is a message to anyone that's listening here. We can only meet people where they're at. Hopefully this makes sense. At an emotional level. And that's not to talk bad on anyone or anything because everyone process is different. And I have to sit here and remind myself, a lot of the books that I'm reading and everything, all the new things, right? Where it's like my parents were little kids too. They were in a completely different like they are in a completely different generation, but was mental health even like spoken about in what, like the the 70s, like the 60s, the 70s, like was it? Right? So something that has helped me just so much is that. And then also just with my spirituality, right? And just really meditation and envisioning my inner child or my higher self and meeting the inner child of what I would envision of my father. And it's just different. It is just so different. But I need to go on and celebrate myself because this is huge. This is huge. This is something that I am extremely passionate about to the point I'm having these conversations with my girls. My girls are 11. My babies are turning 12 in October. And I have conversations with them, not only that, with their father as well. And I be getting so passionate about it. And sometimes Scarlett looks at me like, Mom, like, are you okay? But it's for real. It's a simple fact where it's like, I am not perfect, right? We all cause trauma. I'm trying my best in everything. And, same with their father. And we're all healing. I'm breaking generational curses. Their father's breaking generational curses, but also they have to go on and do that themselves too. And I speak to my girls about generational trauma, and we have the uncomfortable conversations. And we talk about how eventually in the future, there's going to be a lot of things that, are probably going to remind you of me in friends or, people that in the future you decide to go on and date or like whatever, right? There's going to be a time where you're going to be seeking what your dad didn't give you in another man or, whatever it may be. Let this be like whether it's taboo, like I literally do not care because I am so passionate about this. I take this shit so seriously and it's real. And it's conversations that I feel like really need to be had and also really just, for me, right, prioritizing mental health and having those very uncomfortable conversations. A healing point for me, and I'm just going to be so just open and so vulnerable, is the fact of, you guys know, like I was put up for adoption, and there's a lot of emotions that come with it. Now we're specifically talking about the father wound. And yeah, like it's just a lot. And I sit here and I'm looking at just my life and relationships and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I have been trying to fill this void and this emptiness and trying to find love in the wrong places. And for me, right, this is me, this is my story. The way back to that, the way to heal that for myself is allowing myself to grieve the past versions of myself. And it's the journey back to self, the journey back to core, which is interesting because I have a program called Journey to Self, Healing from the Root to the Crown. That's what it is. And it's really sitting with that part of me that's petrified of being alone, and sitting with that the abandonment, sitting with the just all these emotions that come up, and telling myself like, hey, it's really reparenting myself and self-soothing, and reassuring myself. And also really, it's pouring into myself and telling myself I don't lack anything at all, right? I love my dad. I love my dad so much, and you know, I send my dad love, and it's unfortunate the the way that the relationship is, but that doesn't change the fact that I have so much love for the man that raised me, for the man that tried his best, right? Given the whatever circumstances, and not judging, right? Because again, we all are on our journey of healing, and life is just, it's nothing but a healing journey. There's the relationship part, that I kind of went over, but also it's the relationship to things as well, that I feel a lot of us get lost into, and a lot of the beliefs, and I guess you can say like conditioning that gets put onto us, and we don't even know, like a lot of that scarcity mindset. Again, like I have been just going hard with healing my relationship with money, healing, the relationship with myself, and really just like reconstructing my mind, right? When it comes to the money part, like when it comes to anything, right? If any of you guys have ever worked with me, you all know I am the type of person like that is, oh, we're gonna go on and like I'm gonna give you the answer. Like if you're coming to me for spiritual guidance, right? I'm gonna give you the answer, but I'm gonna like we're gonna go deep into it, and everything is deep when it comes to me. It is that deep, yes. And there's just more to it than the answer. And you see that in the relationship with money. When it comes to myself, I've just learned so much. So then I go from this Cynthia that believes hardcore in this sense of, money only comes to me through a man. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. I had like this specific mindset, and I had to like break out of that. And there was like a lot of just like, oh my goodness moments. And the answers are in your childhood. You can find, these answers like reading a book like the one that I read, The Adult Daughters of Emotionally Absent Fathers. And also when it comes to your job and like whatever career it is that you have, right? Because obviously whatever job you have is going to give you the money, so they're linked. And I'm over here and I'm telling myself like self, and it's funny because I have been telling myself this whole time, oh, like you don't have to work so hard for money. And it's like you say it, like I say it and I say it, but then it's like really like there's this shift because I'm saying it, but yet I'm doing it, and I'm overexerting myself. I'm gonna get it like a little bit into human design. I'm a projector, baby. Like I'm not meant for the 9 to 5. I'm not. And I sit here and I get into my spirituality and human design and shit like that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it all makes sense because I reach burnout and then I have like actual anxiety. And there again, like there's just so much to it. And again, the answers are in the healing, the answers are in your fucking childhood. Go back to that and heal that shit. And then also while you're at it, see if you can find a therapist. Mental health is so important. So going back to it, I be getting into like my little tangents, but going back into it, I'm sitting here and I'm telling myself, you don't have to work hard, you don't have to work hard. But then actual like healing and going back into it and then going on and being able to see what did Cynthia see growing up. I'm seeing my parents, they're like slaving themselves, right? And I'm just like, oh my goodness, like you have to work hard. There's a specific way that you make money. And like taking a step back, like, no. It doesn't have to be like that. I can make money doing what it is that I love. That's the road and the path that Cynthia's going down. I've been called for the last, what, like 2 months? I have been called to use my voice. I've been called to Cynthia, like, your voice is your money maker. And I'm just like, ugh, I need to work on my consistency. But still, like, I absolutely love to talk and I love to ask questions. And there's another book that I'm reading. Once I'm done with that book, I'm gonna make a podcast on it. It's called What Happened to You. And Oprah is like, she is that girl. And that is something that I really want to do. Like again, like I find so much healing in stories. There's just so much fucking healing in stories and just like there's healing even just talking about it. And the throat space for me is so powerful. And why can't Cynthia just fucking make money based off of that? Why can't we sit here and like tell our kids and start teaching our kids like, yo, like whatever it is that lights you up, go do that. These are the things that I'm learning with my father wound, right? This is all coming from the fact that Cynthia got called to this book and hearing Lyla showing us in the book the journey through the things that she did when it came to her corporate job, right? Um, and just being like, oh my gosh, yes, girl, like hats off to you. You're getting like high paying clients. It's amazing. And yeah, there's a lot of anxiety and things like that that come with it, but I mean, emotions are emotions and they're called emotions for a reason because they need emotion through us. When it comes to this book and like the whole father wound and stuff like that, again, it's like the way that I feel like I have viewed men. Oh my God, this is another thing. I need to stop this. So it's like the other day I was doing something that I really did not want to do. And I was like, ugh, I was like, this is a man's job. And I didn't even notice that. So later on that day, I'm with my friends and like we're talking and they're talking about that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I had like a little call out moment and I was like, oh, I need to stop that. So basically, to get into that, right? There is this part of Cynthia that I have that this way of viewing men, also like telling myself, let's stop that. That's kind of toxic. It's not kind of toxic, it is toxic. And also, I'm raising a little boy, right? And he's like, growing up listening to mommy like saying these things and I need to correct myself. But also when it comes to the way I view men too is just so toxic and like angry. Like there's a part of me that I've recently connected to and it's just like man equals anger. Man equals emotionally absent, emotionally unavailable. Literally, not all men are like that. Changing my view in men, but also allowing this new energy to come into my orbit. And not only that, doing what it is that I can, right? To raise a little man, my little baby, my little Bashi. This book is an amazing book, and I love the way that she wrote it, and it plays a huge role in my journey that is ongoing and continuous in healing the father wound, and which then correlates to me healing my actual relationship to men and the way that I view them, and this huge perspective shift. Thank you to anyone that has gotten this far and that is listening. I will see you all in the next one. Bye.